In this video, we're going to talk about how it's possible to be making $500,000 a year, be at the top of your game, but still feel completely trapped. Sounds crazy, right? We see those headlines all the time. I'm 59, I've got $3 million bucks, but I still can't retire. And it seems like that can't even be real. You've done everything you were supposed to do, hit your income goals, but you feel like if everything stopped tomorrow, your financial life would fall apart. And the reason you feel that way is because your success has become a cage. Your high income is tied to a high stress job and a lifestyle that depends on your next commission check cashing. That's not freedom. Now, I'm also going to break down the 3 real reasons that you could feel trapped making $500,000 a year. And I'm going to show you how to diagnose if you're 401k poor and what to do about it. So make sure to stick around till the end. Let's get into it. All right. So the first reason you could feel trapped is because you're what I call 401k poor. You've heard of being house poor, where all your money's tied up in your house's equity. This is the same thing, but for your retirement account. Many sales leaders that I have conversations with have their wealth locked away in 2 places, 401k and their house. It looks great on paper, but it's not easy to access. You might not have the best liquidity for it, and you don't have other sources of income, and the only place you could take money from is from your emergency fund. All right, so I want to pose 2 scenarios here. We have scenario A, and then we have scenario B. Let's say we have, just like the example from before, we have a 59-year-old, put 59-year-old couple worth $3 million. And in this scenario on the left, we've got, let's say a $800,000 home. Let's say it's paid off. They're going to retire, home's paid off. Maybe they have $2 million in their 401k. And then the remaining 200, I'll say they've got about 150k in a non-qualified investment account, which would just be I put after-tax dollars in. I have investments I hold. If I have interest or dividends, I got to pay tax in this year. I can access the money. And then they have 50k. We'll just say this is like checking and savings. That's scenario A. Scenario B. Let's go with the same $800,000 home, but their 401k is $1 million. And then the rest of their money, the other $1.2 million, they've got about $1.2 million in this non-qualified account, and they've got their other 50 in the checking and savings. Now, I'm using a simple example here to just illustrate the purpose, but having your 401k with all your money, if it's a pre-tax 401k and you are getting into retirement, because you're after 59 and a half, so you get access to money, you're subject to whatever the government and whatever politicians come in office and want to change the tax laws to. So your $2 million might not really be $2 million when it's all said and done after taxes. Granted, a non-qualified account is subject to taxes. There are different taxes. It's usually capital gains taxes if it's on long-term capital gains compared to income taxes on the 401k. But this could end up making the dollars that you own be worth significantly less. It's not a guarantee, but it could happen. Second, let's pose the scenario that maybe we're 10 years before this. We're 49 years old instead of 59. So the same person, maybe the dollar amounts aren't quite as high. The 401k is worth less. The non-qualified investment account, that's worth less. But if they're 50 and they want to use this money to pay for a kid's college, to buy a car for one of their kids, maybe they just want to buy a second home like a beach home. You can only tap into a certain amount of your 401k by a loan against a 401k if your 401k plan even offers it. Otherwise, you got to pay taxes and penalties, and that's not something you want to do to fund some of your other goals. So having buckets that might not get the best tax advantages on the way the money goes in, but they're accessible along the way, that's super important. Because life happens, things change, and you want flexibility in your financial strategy. So you don't want to tie up all your money in your house, all your money in your 401k. Technically, you can access it if it's in your house, if it's in your 401k, following certain rules and getting certain approvals when it comes to getting debt. But is that the way we want to rely on getting our money? I don't know. Always consider your situation and talk to a professional. This is just for educational purposes. It's an example, but you should consider your access to your money as you're building. All right, quick pause. If you're a sales leader making $500,000 or more, and this idea of being 401k poor sounds familiar, this is the exact problem that I solve for my clients. We help you build financial strategies to give you access to your money, help you create freedom today, not just 30 years in the future. So if you want to see if that's a fit for you, click the link in the description, book a call with me, and we'll see if we're a fit. So the second reason you could feel trapped is because you have no system for managing your cash flow. Your income's high, but so are your expenses. Money flows in and it goes right out the door without having a structure for it. Here's the question I ask all my clients. If your paycheck stopped tomorrow, how long could you maintain your life? For most people, that answer could be scary. High income could hide a lot of problems, but the biggest one is lack of control. And without control, you can't have freedom. So I want to talk to you about how many of our clients manage cash flow and what we have found be successful in some scenarios. Most people, and the problem at hand, they get a paycheck, money comes in, and it goes to a checking account. From this checking account, they then automate their investments or to their savings. Maybe they have like a vacation account that they're sending money to. The problem with this, if I look at my income and my expenses, most people's income over their career is going to go something like this. Hopefully you're going to make more money over time and there's an exponential curve that you make more and more as time goes on. If our money is designed to go to a spending environment immediately, a checking account, our expenses are going to follow almost an identical pattern. We might save more money a little bit, but we're ultimately going to spend more. And our spending is going to be directly tied to the increase in our paycheck. What we want to do, I'm going to put N for new, we want to create a new way that we manage our money to disconnect the paycheck from our spending, from our consumption. So what our new pattern should look like is something like this. And all this margin in between here is the hypothetical gain of new money that I save by creating a successful structure around managing my paycheck that it helps me first, not everybody who wants me to sponsor their golf tournament. So here's how we do this, and this is the alternative. As we get paid, I want this money to come first to an account that I call a reservoir. This reservoir then will direct traffic. So just like I might put money for vacations or for my savings or for my investments automatically, like I just said, I'm also going to do the same thing for my checking account. I want you to think about something. Your whole life, you've decided, hey, I'm going to invest $1,000 a month, $3,000 a month, $5,000 a month to this investment account I have. Automatically, it's going to come out every time. Why have you never chosen, I'm going to spend X amount per month and it's going to go to my checking account? This is what we want to do. When we have the paycheck go to a reservoir, which is just a high interest account, higher than a typical checking or savings account, that's our default for our money. The money then will automate to checking and all of our other places that are relevant for us, depending on our personal circumstances. And we do not spend more money unless we make a conscious choice to send money from the reservoir to the checking account. This gets us off the treadmill of wondering, why can't we get ahead? Why can't our budget seem to work? Here's the thing with budgets, and I'm going to talk about budgets because a budget is most of the financial industry's solution to the cash flow problem of why I can't get ahead no matter how much money I make. A budget teaches you to live without. It tells you, look at all my flaws. What's wrong with me? Where am I spending money? What do I need to be better at? What can I cut back? What can I live without? I don't want you to live without. I want you to live with. So creating the structure like we have here, this makes you first in the order. You intentionally choose what you spend, and it's not about spending less. It's being intentional about it so that every dollar now can pay these other places where you can build assets that create more income. And now from here, if I'm creating more income over here in different investments, we have these circle back, feed the reservoir, and the cycle repeats itself. So my drawing is getting a little messy at this point, but the bottom line is set up a structure for your paycheck that helps you. Now, the final reason that you could feel trapped is, in my opinion, the most important. And it's because you have no strategy for actually using the money you work so hard for. Isn't the whole point of making big money to have a great life and do amazing things? You're sacrificing your best years for a future that isn't even guaranteed. Being financially free is not just about having a big number in your 401k or some investment account. It's about the ability to create experiences with your family, to travel if that's your jam, and to enjoy the wealth that you're building right now. As we look at building wealth long term, I'm the biggest advocate in the world for saving a lot of money and putting a lot of money into your investments. But one of my favorite ways to plan with our clients is to consider sources that could create passive income for you while you're climbing the mountain of financial freedom. So if I put my money in assets today that could pay me back while I'm building, and I could choose, do I want to reinvest that? Do I want to use it for something else? These are things that can help us enhance our lifestyle now without hurting our future. Of course, if you reinvest that money, you're going to end up with more later because our savings rate is the one thing we can control. But if they're a source that produces continuous income, it's still going to produce income in the future, hopefully. And if it does, that source is there. And if it continues to grow and appreciates to be more value, and we do put more money into it every year, it's going to have the income that we need down the road. The key is planning ahead and being strategic as far as like, how much do we need to put away? How much do we need to get to? And really it's want. It's not even about need. It's what's the life you want? And then what dollar amount does that require? Because if you're planning for needs, you already lost. I don't want to plan for needs. I need to do this. I need to do that. People have been telling me that my whole life, since I'm in grade school, since I'm playing sports, since I got into business. Let's plan for wants and reverse engineer from that so that you can live great on the way up the mountain and you can live even better on the way down. So look, if you're making great money, but you still feel trapped, it's not because you're bad with money. Stop buying into that narrative. It's because you're playing a game that wasn't designed for you. You're following advice that was meant for a different type of person with a different type of income. You feel trapped because you're 401k poor. You don't have a cash flow system and you have no strategy for how you're going to live now beyond just put it on a credit card. But the good news is you can fix this. You can build a system that gives you control. You can have accessible money and you could start using your money to build the life you actually want today. Now, if you want to see how this applies to building a full financial strategy, I'd highly recommend watching my video here on how you could think about building a $3 million retirement plan as a B2B sales leader. I'll see you there.